Hello, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Thank you for tuning in to the Diaspora panel, the voice of the diaspora. Tonight, I'm in the video, in the studio with my two colleagues. I'm in with Mr. Olaitan Adedigba, who is based in United States of America. Mr. Olaitan, you are welcome.
Yes, my pleasure being here this afternoon.
And also with my brother, Mr. Olalawal, who is based in Canada. Mr. Lawal, you are also welcome.
Thank you for having me.
And I want to say thank you so much for all the new subscribers. Last week, we got almost about 100 new subscribers. We want to welcome you to our family. And we want to say that you should share this video as much as you can. If you have any information to give us, or if you have any question, please send your information or send your email to info@diasporapanel.com. So today we want to discuss a very, very important issue. Biafra, the Biafra agitation. And in the last few years, we have seen so much conflict and killings in the southeast region of our country. There is an stay-at-home order on Mondays, which has disrupted so many businesses. The police and the army have lost so much personnel in the southeast in the last few years. And we have seen these killings continue unabated. We have seen the unlawful kidnapping and arrest and detention of Nnamdi Kanu, who is currently in jail. We have seen the rise and fall of Simon Ekpa in Finland. So we all know that there's an agitation in the southeast for the Republic of Biafra. So the question I want to ask you, let me start with you, Shupo. Why is the Nigerian government acting and behaving as if this agitation doesn't exist? Why?
Well, thank you very much for having me today. And thanks for joining us, our viewers. It's quite interesting the way the Nigerian government has dealt with this issue of, agitation from various groups, particularly from the Southeast, to have their own nation. I think it's not that the government is behaving that the issue does not exist. I think the problem is they lack the will to actually address the core issue. Because why do people ask or agitate, for a referendum or for anything? It's because they are not content with status quo. Now, if you look at Nigeria, I think there are definitely people who are benefiting, tremendously from status quo. And, those people seem to be in control. So they're not prepared to have that conversation, because the conversation will likely result in a situation or a scenario that is probably not favorable to them. Let me say this, though, that the self-determination is a right for any indigenous group. For me personally, I liken it to being in a marriage. A marriage is as close as a union that we can use as a comparison. Now, no one should, I think we would all agree, remain or be in a marriage by force. It takes two people, that have decided to be in a marriage or a union, for that union to be successful. So I think the same needs to happen in Nigeria. As a matter of fact, I think it's not only Biafra. I think all of the various indigenous groups have a right to self-determination. And for Nigeria to move forward, that right needs to be exercised and respected, so that all the groups can come together and determine how Nigeria needs to be structured. I think one other reason, very quickly, why it seems that the government is dealing with it as not an issue is because there is an assumption that after that, self-determination is discussed, that the outcome will be a separation. It doesn't necessarily have to be. It could be a confederation. It could be, a different type of, political structure that will still keep the country together as a federation, but where there will be a devolution of powers to regions or to states, as the case may be. But nevertheless, I think we all agree that the status quo is not working, and the government needs to face this issue spot on.
Okay, sure. Thank you very much. So, Lighton, I know that you are a political watcher. You've seen that the Buhari government was the one who, will I say, lured Kanu and put him back in prison. But we've not had a new government for the last 1.5 years, and the president of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And it seems like this government is behaving as if the agitation doesn't exist, as if nothing is happening in the East, as if it's just some, people kidnap, just like that's nothing political about what's going on in the Southeast. Do you not think this is very strange?
Yeah, the government, what really happens in Nigeria is the problem of the political class. The political class, they believe that, well, whatever they do, they don't believe in any rights. Like you rightly said, the agitation is inalienable rights of any individual. Okay, we want to agitate. We want this for ourselves, self-determination. There is nothing bad in that. But for people who are believing that, why should they be agitating? What is? But they are repressing them. What started this agitation was the debt here, right? That the government of Buhari turned into the killing by the nomadic people. Why those people they are killing the indigenous people in the southeast? That is what brought about the ipob. There was massive before ipob. There was ECA, all these people. But these people they keep calling they destroy their farmland. So yes, they have to shout out. They have to say, okay, we want equitable rights. We have the same rights, inalienable rights in our own land. You can be cheating us at the federal. No, you cannot be cheating us on our farmland. So that is, but the government, it is now time for the government of Nigeria to listen to the agitation. What causes this agitation? How can we redress it? How can we address it? What can we do to bring about confidence as a nation, whereby people are not vegetating in their own land? Right? It is wrong for people to be saying that we want this, we want that, but listen to them. Come down to their level. Come, let them talk. Let them express their view. Right? It is meant for you to say, okay, this is what we will do. This is what we will do. Right? Maybe we do. But I thank God for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, what he's doing now. As a matter of fact, everybody we have equal shares in the whole country, in the affairs of the country now, unlike before, whereby you are repressing them, you are sending aircraft to go and be killing ESM, right? So it's wrong.
Okay.
We need to listen to the people agitation. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lighton. Shupor, let me come back to you. So one of the main issue is that the Igbos, who are apparently one of the 3 largest tribes in Nigeria, very hardworking people, very industrious people, they are very very good race, good tribe, and who are supposed to be like every other major tribe in Nigeria. They are saying that they have been marginalized. And if you look at the political configuration of Nigeria, the Southeast region is the only region with only 5 states. The other regions have 6 states each. In fact, the Northwest has 7 states. So looking at that, I actually think that they have been marginalized. That's my personal opinion, because they are the only people with only 5 governors. The others have 6 governors. Some other people have 7 governors. In the Senate, they have only 15 senators. The Northwest has 21 senators. every other zone has about 18 senators. The same thing with the House of Rep, the same thing with the number of local governments. So they have, since the after the war in 1970, it looked like they have been pushed into one corner, and the Nigerian government has consistently not listening to them. So do you think the time is ripe for Nigeria to do a kind of political restructuring of the whole country? Because all these states were created by the military, warlords who are from the north. So I am thinking this is to solve this agitation, to solve every agitation from the southwest, it's time to create more states in Nigeria to balance the federation. For example, the northern part of Nigeria, for example, when we started in 1960, there were 3 regions. There is the north, there is the west, there is the east. Today, the northern region is 19 states. The entire 2 regions of the west and the east, there are only 17 states. So this is wrong. We need to balance the federation. So I am thinking that since now we have 6 geopolitical zones, let us create about 6 more states. 2 states for the Igbos in the southeast to make 7 states for them. 1 state for the southwest to make 7 states. 1 state for the south-south to make 7 states. 1 state for the north-central to make 7 states. And 1 state for the northeast to make 7, so that every region will have 7 states each. I think if we do that, the Igbos will have their own 21 senators, their own 7 governors. Do you think this is the time right now for Nigeria to do a kind of political restructuring? Sure. Please unmute yourself.
Yeah, thanks very much for that. So I definitely agree that the Nigeria needs to be restructured because I think part of the reason why there is agitation now, not only from Southeast to have Biafra, but also from the Southwest for Yoruba Nation, is because the status quo is not working. What do I mean by that? I mean, largely, if you look at the productivity of all of the states in the federation, you will see that a significant amount of the revenue that comes into the federal government that is then allocated to each of the states comes primarily from the South. I think with the exception of probably Kano State, Kaduna State, Niger State, and maybe Sokoto, a lot of the northern states actually are not generating enough revenue when you look at their numbers from internally generated revenue compared to what they actually get from the federal allocation. So what you actually have is resources at the end of the day, mostly coming from the South, being consumed by the North. Yet the North claims they have more people, they have a bigger land mass, but the more people and the bigger land mass that to me that they have is not showing up in terms of productivity into the federal purse. So that's why southern regions or southern states are saying they are very heavily marginalized because, again, because of that population, the North believes they should be the people that will hold on to power. Now, in terms of what you're saying with respect to that structure, I actually have a different view because I don't believe in the creation of more states. As a matter of fact, I think we have a lot of states in Nigeria that are not generating any revenue, or at least, if you can't even contribute something to the federal purse, cover your own costs. They're not. So if we create more states, each of these states will have their own House of Assemblies, which is more money going to pay legislators. I actually think we should have a different formula. I think a census is key to figuring out what the population distribution is in Nigeria. Assuming, for example, that 60%, of the population comes from the North, just to give an example, then structure the house based on the population and make it that any decisions that will have to be made cannot be made solely by one region of the country. What that will do, for example, is it will force regions to make deals with each other. So the Southeast wants something, the North wants something, Southwest wants something. Well, let's put together a package where everybody gets something. That is, I think, a structure that is much likely going to work.
Okay.
But at the same time, we need to also reduce drastically the cost of governance.
Thank you very much, Upo. So, Lighton, what is your opinion about, restructuring the country politically and giving the Igbos the kind of space that, that is due to them?
I want Nigeria to be restructured, but the creation of more states is not viable. A lot of states, a lot of states cannot meet their cost. The cost of governing them. So that is why they keep going to Abuja every month to go and beg. None of them can think behind above the box, right? That everybody they want to go to Abuja, but they have natural resources, they have minerals, they have everything there, but they cannot make use of it. They cannot transform it. They cannot do anything. They cannot. Nobody is bringing in money. A lot is, as a result, is our leaders. They cannot take. They can. It's affecting the followers, right? The constituents. They are the constituents are the ones suffering. These people they will get at the end of the month. The legislator will get their money. The executive will get their money. So eventually, from the Abuja. So they have nothing left that will amass the wealth. And they can't think about the most vulnerable people in the country. As a matter of fact, this agitation, hunger is part of the agitation. Because angry man is an angry man. When you don't have means of livelihood, when you don't have things, how am I going to survive tomorrow? That is why they are killing, that is why they are abducting, that is why they are abducting for money. That is why people are killing for ritual, for money, because they don't have they've gone to the extent, to the extreme. So it's a lot of problem in Nigeria. The youths, they are the most vulnerable people. Right? They have the large population, but they are the most neglected.
Okay, Lighton. Just the next question I would like to ask.
I don't want any state. I don't want the state to be created. Even as a matter of fact, if they can match some states, like Kano and Kebbi, they should match them. Ogun, they should match them. All this, not East, South is not. They should do that.
Okay. I think I agree with you, Anshuko. So do you think maybe what we should do in Nigeria is to actually go back to the regional structure? Let's have 6 regions, in which case Biafra will be 1 region, Southwest will be 1 region, South 1 region, Northwest, North Central, Northeast will be one region. So we have 6 regions, and each of these regions will produce equal number of senators, equal number of House of Rep, and equal number of local governments, so that balances up the federation. What do you think? What do you think, Lighter?
That will be better. I will want that regional
right to persist. So when we have regional system, that
will be okay for us, in the sense that everything this region. What that was why before 1967, 1962, 1963. That is how we've been living. In our region, we'll be producing cocoa. Cocoa has done a lot of things for us in Southwest. Likewise, Kano, the northern region, sorry, the pyramid, Granite pyramid, cotton, and all this stuff from the Kano, from in the east, they have coal. So that is what we should go back to the basics. And when we go back to the basics, we have enough money to spend. We have enough money, and on energy refinery will be there. That okay, Southwest is moving at alarming rate. So we should look ahead. We should look inward. We should make sure that we balance, we match the pace that they are going. So that is how I believe a country should be run.
Okay, like that.
I agree with what is just said, but I would even go a bit further. And what I would do actually is to allow indigenous people within each of the current states to determine which region they want to be in.
Okay,
I think that is extremely crucial in ensuring that we come off with a structure where everybody's wishes and agitations are addressed.
But I think that we already have 6 regions, in which case the Igbos are in 1 region anyway, and the minorities in the south are in the south, just like the minorities in the north, in the middle belt, and we have the southwest, and we have the northeast. So I think there's, I mean, I don't understand.
Yeah.
So I think
If
everybody.
we call it self-determination, not
Okay.
somebody imposing what the structure should be on the indigenous people, let indigenous people in various states and in various regions decide which region they want to be a part of.
Oh, right. Okay. Listen, Chukwa, because of time.
Like a dual data, they should. I mean, they want to go with Southwest, not the.
If they so, because I think that will be very, very key to ensuring that it is the people by themselves
actually decided where they want to be.
Where they want to be.
Right. Okay. So let's go forward. So the next question I want to be asking you, and I'm going to start with you, Shukwa, is looking at the case of Nnamdi Kanu, who's been in detention for for many years now. Now this guy was in London. It was lured by the Nigerian government. I was told that to Kenya. From Kenya, he was kidnapped and then brought to Nigeria, and he's been in jail since. Now, do you think Nigeria needs a kind of political situation, I mean, a political settlement, to resolve this crisis, and then have a good reconfigure the political system so that what these people are talking about, let's have a conversation around an holistic conversation, and let's resolve this problem, because the killing in the East is just too much. What do you think?
Yeah, so excuse me. I think if we look at the case of Nnamdi Kanu specifically, I believe he was abducted. I think is the right way to call how he was repatriated back to Nigeria.
Back into Nigeria, yeah.
Right. And I personally don't believe that any entity that is law-abiding should be allowed to profit from the proceeds of illegal activity. So same thing, if you are going to arrest a citizen, you have to make sure that they are arrested using the right legal and administrative procedures. So if we look at what happened with Nnamdi Kanu, that's not the case. So, and there has been court rulings actually mandating that, he be released, but the federal government has not actually abided by, the
court rulings,
the court rulings. So, I mean, what example, but nevertheless, the government expects citizens to be law-abiding. So, this is part of the problem that we have in Nigeria. First and foremost, I think, based on that premise, I think Nnamdi Kanu should be released. And then the government should engage in a consultative discussion with not only Nnamdi Kanu, but all indigenous groups in Nigeria, so that people have the ability to actually, exercise that right to self-determination. I should say, by the way, that right to self-determination is actually enshrined in the UN Charter of Rights, to which Nigeria is a signatory to. So what I would recommend actually for all of the indigenous groups actually is to take this matter up. If the Nigerian government refuses, to do the needful, to actually take it up with the United Nations, so that the federal government of Nigeria would be mandated as a signatory to that particular something to conduct a referendum.
Thank you, Shukwa. So, Laita, what's your take on that? Do you think that the federal government should, have a political solution to the Nnamdi Kanu issue?
Yeah, the way, like law of cause and effect, one thing we always lead to another. The issue will have been better solved before it was aggravated to the extent of Nnamdi Kanu, people inciting, Nnamdi Kanu inciting people doing that. Nothing bad in agitating that, okay, this is my right, he has an inalienable right to say, okay, this is what I want to do. This is where I want to belong. But the moment Nnamdi Kanu continue, the moment they've taken into arms ammunition to be killing people, to be burning down houses, to be doing all this stuff, that is where they extended their handshake beyond level. Nonetheless, by now, I think they should have released Nnamdi Kanu and make sure the dialogue with. I think the graph is he jumped big, right? So that is why they are heading him. Yes, he jumped big, he ran away, he fled the country while he was on bail. So that is why they are. So he should face the consequence. So to say.
Just because of time, we only have about 4 minutes thereabout. So now I'll start with you, Shu. I'll go next to you, Shupo. Now we know that Nigeria doesn't have the referendum clause in our constitution. Do you not think now is the right time to put that clause in the constitution so that any state or any group of states that want to, I mean, you can't, as you said, you can't keep people together by sheer force. It has to be, by mutual agreement. Yeah. So, because, like, for example, the Quebec in Canada, where you are, there was a time they wanted to break away, and the Canadian government offered them a referendum, and they voted to stay. The people of Scotland, they were agitating for many years. The United Kingdom offered them a referendum, and they voted to stay. In Ukraine, the eastern part of Ukraine that is now at war, with Russia, they had a referendum, and I think they decided to merge with Russia. So, we are not the only democracy in the world. Do you not think that this is the time for the federal government to rethink about, having a referendum clause in our constitution?
Yeah, I think the issue can be dealt with in two ways. I think first and foremost, we need as a society to determine the wishes and the aspirations of the indigenous people. So if a particular region is saying they want to go, let us first and foremost establish that. Maybe it's not only Biafra, maybe Yoruba Nation too wants to go, maybe South too wants to go, maybe North Central wants to, let us establish first and foremost which of the indigenous groups would like to remain in the federation and which one wants to leave. I think the issue is really beyond Biafra alone. There may seem to be the agitation, that has been on for quite a long time, actually since the Civil War. But let's establish that. Once we establish that, then the next stage will then be what will be the timeline and what will be the avenue to to activate that self-determination. I honestly think they are two different things. And when they always say where there's a will, there's a way. Those are conversations that need to happen. How do we deal with currency? How do we deal, for example, with existing debt? All of those things are conversations that need to happen. And I think if we are a society where we're all adults and we're all matured, we can negotiate the terms of either remaining as a union or for certain indigenous groups to activate and actualize their self-determination.
Thank you, Shupo. So, Lighton, what's your take? Do you think it's time to have a referendum inserted into our constitution so that anybody or any group of states or region that think maybe they are better off on their own, that we can have a referendum to determine if they should go?
Yeah, the referendum is long overdue. Long overdue. Like you rightly said, it is not only the Igbos that want to exit Nigeria. A lot of ethnicity they want to exit Nigeria. Like Oduduwa, they want to exit. If you give Hausa to, they don't want to have anything doing with it. So I think it is high time they now sit down around the table. That okay, what is the terms of engagement? How do we go about this thing? What do we do? Who takes what? Who will be in the? Where is Abuja is at the same time? Where is Abuja going to be? So these are the areas the gray area we need to look at. So I think it's inside time we sit down. We are not one. We are not the same. What some people are looking at themselves as superior, more superior than the other. So we can't. It's unequal yoke. We are bearing the unequal yoke. They take the lion's share. They do everything, and anything they do that will be for the generality of the people, they will say it's again the not. They are relocating the NNPC office some of the offices from Abuja. Yeah, what is Abuja? What is NNPC doing in Abuja? They are relocating it to Lagos. They said no. Bank, they are this the central bank. They are doing this. They said no. So I don't know. So these are the areas. We are not one. We are not one. We are. Let's say to yourself, oh Nigeria.
Okay. Just because we have just about 3 minutes to go, so I'm gonna start with you. I have one question, and I want you to answer it. It's just 1 minute. Now that Igbos are saying that they want to live, let's just assume that we have a referendum and they voted to leave. Just as I'm just assuming there are about 10 million Igbos in other parts of Nigeria, in Lagos, in Kano, in Kaduna, in Jos, in Port Harcourt. Are they going to go back? Because if you vote to leave, you can't remain. So if Nigeria now says you should go back home, how do you think that will affect, our Igbo brothers?
If they want to go, it's voluntary. Anybody that wants to go back to the east, they can go. Anybody, they bought some. I mean, some people
I'm saying if Nigeria says you all have to go back to your country,
let them go. Let them go back to their Igbo land. Let them go to Igbo land. Hausa go to your Hausa land. Yoruba be your Yoruba land. So the Yorubas in Igbo land, they should come to Yoruba land. And anybody that wants to go, I mean, it's like you have to give them work authorization. You have to give them the ID, national ID. That okay, you are Igbo. You are not Yoruba. You are not this. You are not entitled to work here. You are not entitled because we are not be using our money here to be paying for no Yoruba. So that is better. I mean, the issue will be better resolved like that, right?
Yeah, okay.
So everybody, we have national ID, we have job opportunity, everything will be there. So let them go. Anybody that wants to go, let them go. So we'll be able to plan with the ability we have. Thank you.
Okay, Shukwa, what I'm trying to get at is that if, for example, the Nigerian government, after maybe, assuming if the Igbo say we voted, we want to go, and the federal government says, okay, because you are not in a different countries, everybody should go back to their country. Do you think this will not because there are a lot of more Igbos, they are very enterprising people, very hardworking, I think there are actually more Igbos outside of Igbo land than in Igbo land. So
yes.
There will be so much of them in every part of Nigeria, and if they all have to go back to their land, they have very little land. You think this is going to cause a lot of disclosure? Do you think that they should rethink about leaving Nigeria?
So, I'm not going to tell any indigenous group in Nigeria, what to do. I think that obviously will need to be part of the calculus for whether self-actualization and exiting the federation is the right way to go. It doesn't also mean that, if they decide to go, that, all, Biafrans, so to speak, in other parts of Nigeria automatically will be kicked out. I think this is the reason why any exit should be thoroughly discussed and negotiated. So, maybe if I know Nigeria currently allows for dual citizenship, for those, for example, that were born in other parts of, that were born outside of Igbo land, who, have strong roots to, wherever they are in Nigeria, maybe Nigeria would offer them a path to citizenship, So I don't know. Those are things that all would need to be discussed. I think it would be very disruptive, to say, for example, once they have Biafra, everybody should leave. I think even states like Lagos, where there are, lots of, businesses that are owned and operated by people, our Eastern brothers, will benefit from just a large exodus of people, within a short period of time. So these are things that need to be discussed. I think there are ways to work that out, to maybe, give people work authorization. Maybe it has to be renewed every, whatever years. People who have property, maybe those who can be put in a different class. I remember quite well that during the Civil War, Biafrans that had property, mostly in the southwestern part of Nigeria, didn't lose their properties. Most of them even had their tenants collecting rents on their behalf, which was given to them when they came back. So there are ways that this can be done. All it has to be done is that we need to be done is it needs to be discussed, and the modalities will need to be worked out so that this will be a peaceful renegotiation
thank you.
for both societies.
Thank you, Shukwa. We've run out of time completely. And I want to say thank you. But just before then, I want to tell our Igbo brothers that I will ask you to rethink about Biafra agitation. You guys are the ones who make Nigeria tick. You know, you are in the football team, you are the business people in Nigeria, you are all over the place. So you have done so well. I think that Biafra, that land you have, is not enough for you guys. Nigeria is a bigger ground for you, to operate. And I think the best thing is let us come together. Let us restructure Nigeria in a way that will be fair to everybody, not just to you, to us too, Yorubas. We want a Nigeria that is fair to everybody. I think this is where we should go. And I think you should have really think about, trying to opt out of Nigeria. I don't think secession from Nigeria will help you. But that's just my opinion. And I want to say thank you to Mr. Olaitan Adediba. Thank you for coming to today's meeting, and thank you for your wonderful contribution.
Okay,
and to Olalawal, all the way from Canada, I want to say a big thank you for coming to today's meeting. Thank you for contributions.
Thank you for having me.
So for our viewers, thank you for watching this video. Next week, we are going to be talking about the Northern Agenda. What exactly does the Fulani want? That's what we're going to be discussing next week. So we'll see you again. God bless you and have a lovely day. Goodbye.